What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be talking all about the brand new gun that came to Xbox, and that is the M1 Irons. I'm also going to be sharing just a few little tips to help you get started using this gun because it does take some getting used to, and there are a few things that I've picked up during my initial playtime so far. At the end, I'm also going to be discussing whether or not I feel this gun is too powerful, whether it's overpowered. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so my initial thoughts on this gun, man, it is fun to use. I actually really enjoy myself playing with this gun. It definitely adds something a little bit fresh. I know it is brand new and we do have that instant feeling of, oh my god, this is so exciting. It brings life back into the game, and it will eventually kind of die off, I'm sure. But for right now, I'm having a blast with this gun. It's a very powerful gun. You can actually do quite well with it if you play right with it. That's the key though, you have to play right with it. And so far, it's definitely something that I feel was needed to kind of bring a little bit of life back into the game. So just in case you aren't aware, this is actually a free DLC gun. So you don't have to pay for this. It's automatically going to be added. And if you want to find it, some people have had this question. They think it's going to be in the pistol category. It's actually a primary weapon under the specials category. So if you're looking for it, that's where it will be. It is only out for Xbox at the moment. It will be coming to PlayStation and PC, I believe, in about a month. I don't even know if they've officially announced that. But it is on Xbox One now. It was on the Xbox 360 a few hours earlier than the Xbox One, which was a little disappointing because we were all anxiously waiting. I was just waiting there, logged in, waiting for it to appear, and it finally did, and I got this gameplay real quick for you guys. And yeah, I am really enjoying myself with it so far. So I highly recommend giving it a go if you haven't done so yet and you're on the Xbox. So basically, just a few of the basic stats of this gun. I'm not going to go all in depth. That's what Drifter's for. If you guys want all the in-depth stats, you guys can go to Drifter, but I'll just share some of these stats that are of note. Basically, it is a semi-auto gun, it's a revolver, and it's kind of like an old school looking revolver. It has some really cool animations. That's one of the things I really like about it, is like when you call in a score streak, you flip the gun around and holster it, and then you call your score streak and pull it back out, and you flip it around again, and I think that's really cool. But it is a revolver, so it has 6 shots in a magazine. There are no extended mags for this, which does make sense. You can't really get like an extended cylinder as far as I'm aware, unless there's some crazy weird invention out there that I don't know of. But I was kind of hoping that there would be some way to have extended mags, because that's one of the big downsides to this gun, is it only has 6 shots in a magazine. As for its damage, it actually has a great 2-shot kill range. The 2-shot kill range, if I'm reading the stat chart correctly, which I believe I am, I just can't believe this, I think it actually has a longer 2-shot kill range than the MK14's 3-shot kill range at the moment, which is ridiculous, because the MK14, we all know, is quite underpowered, and this one is actually more powerful than the MK14. Like I said though, the one downside is the magazine capacity is, well, only 6 rounds. It does fire at a maximum of 600 rounds per minute. That's at least the base model we're talking here. So you can actually fire it relatively quickly if you have a good trigger finger. I always consider my trigger finger to be pretty quick because, well, lots of people always comment on, holy crap, how did you get a trigger finger so fast? I have capped this out several times, so I can't fire this quite as fast as I would like to, but you can still spam that trigger pretty quickly. And for those of you that do have a really good trigger finger, you do have to learn to just slow it down just slightly and kind of ride that edge so you don't oversample it and cause you to have basically a much lower fire rate than you could potentially be having. So that's definitely one of its strengths. When it's up close, this thing absolutely melts, and it's actually a great counter to the ASM-1s up close. I'm really excited that there's finally something that is a viable competitor to the ASM-1 in really close quarter situations, because the time to kill, if you have a decent trigger finger and your aim is on, your time to kill is actually going to be quite a bit faster than the ASM-1, so you can finally shut those guys down if you're in a hardpoint location or just in the same building as an ASM-1. It feels so satisfying to kill a guy with a speakeasy. He's using a speakeasy, you're in the same room as him, and you just 2-shot him like really quickly. It's really satisfying to see that, because not very many guns in the game can do that. Even the shotguns often can't do that because their fire rate's slower, and for a lot of them it takes more than 2 shots to get a kill, or more than 1 shot to get a kill anyways. So this gun is very powerful up close if you're accurate. That's a key with this. There is only 6 rounds, and you do fly through those rounds pretty quickly. So you do have to make sure you're on target. I find it's actually worth, this is a little tip I'm going to give you, it's worth taking that extra maybe quarter of a second to make sure your shot's on target before firing that first shot. If you just run in and start spamming the trigger, you're going to run through those 6 rounds very quickly, and you're probably going to miss. At least most of them. You might hit one, but it's very rare you'll get both if you just run in spamming like crazy unless you're point blank range. You do want to make sure that you have some control over your aim. Take that quarter second and it's going to pay off for you. As for long range engagements, it is usable at long range, but one thing that's really important to note is its aim assist range seems to be very small. Just in case you aren't aware, with the aim assist in Advanced Warfare, every gun class has a different aim assist range. So aim assist is on consoles, and it's basically that sticky aim where if you sweep past the target, it'll slow down when you get over your target. But it only works out to a certain range for each weapon type. So obviously assault rifles are going to have a little bit of a longer range of their aim assist. With this gun, it seems to be almost non-existent. There's very little aim assist with this gun, at least that I could feel while playing with it for my initial playtime with it, which was a few hours. So you do want to make sure you're on target before taking your shots. That's the one big tip that I can have here. And also control your fire rate a little bit. You don't want to over spam it, especially if your trigger finger is very good, because you will end up oversampling it. It's better to take your time on 2 shots than rush through 6 shots with this gun. Now another key thing is try not to go for double kills or triple kills with this. It might work sometimes, but that's going to be quite rare. You have to be really on target and you really have to take your enemies off guard. Because, like I said, you just burst through those 6 rounds very quickly, and even though the reload time's fast, it's usually not fast enough if somebody is onto you. So try and pick people off one person at a time, try and get them on their own, maybe use this gun on their flank a little bit. I don't really recommend using it for like jumping in and trying to clear out a hard point when there's 3 or 4 enemies in there. It's not going to work. You might get 1 kill, maybe you'll get another by punching another guy, but it's not likely you're going to actually effectively clear off that hard point. And that's one thing that I had to kind of learn with this, is you can't just rush in guns blazing. You got to be a little bit more methodical with it, and if you are, it definitely pays off. So now I would love to share some recommended class setups with this, but I haven't really had enough playtime, and I don't want to just, based on like a couple hours of playtime, say, yeah, I used this class setup once for 1 game and it panned out for me, so I definitely recommend using this. I want to have some more playtime with it, get a feel for it, get a feel for the different attachments, the different perks, and everything like that. I want to get a feel for that before giving you guys a proper recommendation on the class setups to use. But one thing that I highly recommend using, if you're planning on using just this and trying to just go for a gameplay with this, is Scavenger. I find you don't really need toughness that much because most of your gunfights are going to be up close. So I'd recommend using Scavenger and Blast Suppressor. I always recommend Blast Suppressor. But this gun does burn through ammo relatively quickly. With the base model, you only start with 30 rounds total, including the rounds that you start with in the cylinder. So 6 shots in the cylinder and then 24 basically in your bandolier or whatever. And you do burn through that ammo very quickly if you're using this gun as your only primary weapon. So if you're trying to get a good gameplay using only this gun, then definitely put Scavenger on. So that's basically the tips I have for this gun. Now I want to talk about, is this OP or is it overpowered? Is it better than all the other guns in the game? Is it something that's very difficult to counter? Almost impossible to counter. And on Twitter, I know my initial impression after like 2 games of playing this, I'm like, wow, this is an overpowered gun. I now disagree with that. I think I overreacted a little bit. It's an extremely powerful gun. It is a very useful gun, but it's very situation dependent. And it's only really good against one enemy. As soon as you start running into multiple enemies, you're in trouble. So it has an extremely fast time to kill. If we're looking at time to kill alone, yes, this gun is overpowered. But there's a lot of other factors to consider. You do have to be relatively close, although that 2-shot kill range is decent, so you do have that little bit of play with it. You can go to that sort of mid to short range and still get a 2-shot kill. But you only have that 6 rounds. It is a semi-auto, which, especially in Advanced Warfare, semi-autos are quite difficult to control because people are bouncing through the air and everything, and it's kind of hard to stay on target with a semi-auto gun while people are in the air. So that's another thing to consider with that. And I feel like it actually balances nicely against the ASM-1, which is kind of known as the best gun in the game and the overpowered gun of the game. And I like that it's finally something that can effectively counter that ASM-1 up close. So no, I don't feel like this gun is overpowered, but it is definitely very powerful. So that's my initial impression, as well as some tips for you guys on the M1 Irons. Let me know in the comment section below if you're an Xbox player and you've played with this, what are your initial impressions of this gun? Also, if you're on PlayStation or PC, how excited are you to use this gun? I would be very excited if I were you because I'm definitely enjoying myself with the M1 irons. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.